Hey, what's up? It's John, Pacific Northwest Computers. I hope everybody's doing well. I know times are a little crazy right now, and we're all kind of locked down. Um, can't go out to eat, can't go to the bar, can't really go see our friends, can't go for hikes. It's crazy. Can't work. Yeah, so I know things are getting tough, and people were stuck at home and they're wanting to clean up their computers because now they're having to use their computers at home a lot, can't use their work computer anymore. And there's probably some folks out there that could use some help in getting their computer cleaned up and tuned up. So I'm going to go through pretty much my routine process I do when I just do a general cleanup or tune up for somebody, including just some basic hardware checking and what have you. So yeah, I just thought I would make a video today just to kind of go over that stuff, and hopefully, if your computer's not running so well and you're stuck at home having to work or what have you, or you're in quarantine because hopefully, God forbid, you're not sick, yeah, we could actually. Or you could actually get your computer cleaned up and working a lot better without having to pay someone to come out and do it for you. So, without further ado, let's do this. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do, and this is my computer here. I just got all my games and stuff up there, all my tons of applications that I use for everything from work to play. Obviously, one of the first things that we're going to do is check for Windows updates. So if you go down to the Start menu here in the lower left-hand corner, you just click on the gear for settings, and we're going to go to Update and Security. And sure enough, it looks like I do have a cumulative update. So this is something that has been, or something I've seen lately, where the computer's doing all of its automatic updates, but the optional ones, like this cumulative one, you'll have to actually download and install manually. So I'm going to go ahead and kick that off just to make sure everything's up to date. Another thing too I'll do is under advanced options, make sure the received updates for Microsoft products is turned on. And let's see, show notification when oh, I didn't know that was even off. And I always like to have show notification when your PC requires a restart to finishing updates. Okay, so that's rocking and rolling. So Windows updates, we're good to go. The next thing I'm actually going to do, let me get this over here. This is my little ticketing site that I use. Oops. All right, so this is nightnight.com. So typically, when you go to someone's house, if they don't have the software that you use on there, or even better example, you're building a brand new computer and you don't want to have to go to all the individual websites to download everything. Ninite.com, this Ninite.com, is a website where you can go and you can actually download all these programs with one easy downloader and installer. So what I usually do is just go through and check all the programs that I want to install. And so I'm going to make sure my Malwarebytes, my Chrome, all my Java, .NET, Silverlight. I use Adobe. Make sure my 7-zip is up to date. But this has a lot of stuff. So actually, when I do a new computer, I'll install Malwarebytes and Spybot and Chrome and Firefox and VLC, MusicBee, all these runtimes. If I know they do graphics or do any kind of work like that, I can put on GIMP or Blender or any of these, Inkscape, Faststone. They have, and a lot of this stuff too is from the Linux community, so a lot of it's open source and it's free. So like Sumatra PDF, excellent PDF alternative to Adobe Reader. Fox Reader too as well. LibreOffice is pretty much like a free Microsoft Office alternative. Same thing with OpenOffice. So lots of cool programs here that you can use. So I'm just going to download this one installer, and all those programs that I checked marked, it's going to automatically download and install for us. Yes, there we go. And I'm actually going to close this out because it's going to update my Chrome. And so if we go to show details, oh, looks like my Chrome's actually already up to date. So it checks to make sure it's already up to date, etc. And then it automatically downloads and installs all this stuff for you. You don't have to click any next buttons, continue buttons, nothing. It's just all automatic. When it's done, it's done. So I'm going to let that kind of run through here. And the next two things we're going to do is open up. Next thing to, yeah, here we go. Maybe later. Yep. When this run a scan? Oh, I actually ran a scan today. Okay, well that's cool. Awesome. Well, I guess that's cool. So this is my Malwarebytes anti-malware. So this is a free anti-malware program. I do love them, and I use them so much. I do use the premium version, which pretty much will act as your full-time antivirus. And if you are interested, I would 100% recommend getting this program. Actually, all the programs that I'm using here, other than, and actually I think even the 992, you can find on the links page on our website at www.pnwcomputers.com. And I'll put some information in the description so you can easily get there. Okay, so all those programs are done. Typically, I would just click on scan, and obviously it would run a scan, but it did one this morning, and everything came up clean, so that's perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is open up good old Spybot here. It has been a little while, 21 days. So first thing I always do here is check for updates. Now, Malwarebytes is actually all automatic. So when you actually go to run a scan, it'll automatically check for updates right out of the gate. So that's pretty much autopilot. With Spybot, you have to make sure, and I actually click it and run it a couple of times just to make sure everything's up to date. Perfect. And scan system. Now, you probably see the immunize button. That's something I typically would recommend doing. Disable those tracking cookies. That's something I recommend doing when you first get the computer or buy the computer. This can take a very long time to run. Essentially what it does is it goes through your computer and it finds stuff that are just like default it's not a virus type information, and it just kind of puts it in a whitelist. So it can help up with the scanning times, because this, even though it says it says less than a minute. Yeah, this could actually take quite a long time. So we might not even get this scan finished before the video's done, but we'll see. But yeah, so this takes a very, very long time. If you do the immunization and you create that whitelist, the scan will be much, much faster. So I just haven't taken the time to let it run. I should just, leave the computer on overnight and let it immunize and just get it over with, but haven't happened yet. And now that I think about it, I'm probably going to do that tonight now. So, okay, so we'll just move right along here. So we're going to move over to CCleaner. CCleaner is an excellent program. It looks like there's an update for it. It's stuck on. Oops, looks like my premium has expired. My bad. So this, again, since I support and distribute all these programs, I try to buy the full version so I can support the company. But essentially, this is like the closest thing to having someone come out and automatically clean up and tune up your computer, essentially. This will clean out all your junk files, cookie and cache files. It does remove some tracker information, and it also will find like obsolete software, out of date software. Yeah, it's pretty much like a Swiss Army knife for just keeping the computer clean of junk and what I consider taking the garbage and recycling out for your computer, just to keep things running nice and fast. So highly recommend this. The free edition is perfectly fine, and even with the professional edition, I try to turn off all of its little like running in the background, watching my back stuff. It's like I don't need any of that extra weight. I'll open up the program and run it when I want to. So again, excellent free program, and if you really like it, buy it and support CCleaner. All right, so we're letting that run through there. Now, actually, while that stuff's all running, do I not have it on here? Oh, I don't. Well, cool. So this is a program that I absolutely love and swear by. Oh, did I close the other window too? I did. Let's reopen that closed one. There we go. Pull you down there. Okay, so this little guy, it's called GSmart Control. I didn't even spell it correctly. Wow, good job, John. So GSmart Control is a Linux-based hard drive checking utility, and since hard drive failure can just happen on you out of nowhere, this is a good way to just check the hard drive smart data, and also, more importantly, is look at all of its statistics, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in here in just a minute. Essentially, a hard drive, in a perfect case scenario, the hard drive has a built-in diagnostic system called SMART. It's like self-managed something. Yeah, look at that. Awesome IT guy, right? Essentially, it just tells you whether or not the hard drive's dying or not. And there's actually a lot of times where the hard drive could have symptoms of dying, but it hasn't reached those thresholds of Smart flagging it as dying. And what can happen is that all of a sudden it'll go from slow to just getting really bad really fast. And Smart won't have time to tell you that there's something wrong. It'll be working one day, you go to turn on your computer, and it'll say, no boot drive found. Or in a perfect world, it'll actually pop up and say, hey, Smart error. There's something going on. You need to actually back up your data and get a new hard drive. So in a perfect world. So what I do with this thing is G-Smart Control, again, free program, is I'll actually just go into all my hard drives here. And the first thing we'll notice on the top here, it says basic health check. So it's already done a basic smart check and it's saying, hey, the hard drive looks good to me. You can actually come into self-tests here. Oh, actually, if you double click on the drive, you can get to that little window I was just in. It tells you all the information, speeds, capacity, serial number, drive model, attributes. This is something that I 100% look at because this can give you kind of like an idea of what's going on. Now, there are a lot of times where you'll see this pre-failure flag, and there is no pre-failure going on at all. So also too, SSD drives can also report some crazy numbers in here that are not accurate as well. But it does give you a general idea of what could be going on. The main point of this, of what I'm trying to get at, is there are times where this will say passed, and then I'll come into here under attributes and raw read error rate, and where's the other one? Current pending sector count will be through the roof. That means that the drive is having some sort of read-write error going on, and the smart system just hasn't determined that it's gone far enough to where it thinks the drive is dying. So with this, I could actually come in, and actually, this is a good example. We've done a full cleanup on the computer. The hard drive looks like it's doing a lot of stuff because the activity light is running like crazy. We might do like a basic check disk or just like, again, a smart check and everything says it's passing, but then I'll come into here and I might see the spin up time is really bad, or I'll see the rod re-error rate is just climbing through the roof. Same thing with current pending sector count. So there can also be some times, though, not to like throw a curveball here, it's not always hook, line, and sinker. There does take some analyzing to figure out what is actually going on, because another thing a hard drive will do is actually try to save itself. So if you see like current pending sector count, relocation event count, and those are going up, but you're not getting raw read error rates, there could be like a platter issue or something going on, but it's not having a hard time reading and writing. It's noticing there's an issue, and it's trying to move your data over to someplace else, and it's successfully doing so. So it's doing its job. It will slow down the performance of your computer, but technically it's bailing the water out as it's coming in per se. So again, if I saw something like that, I may not tell you like, hey, your hard drive's dying, but it's like there's signs of pre-failure or old age, and forecasting either an upgrade, a replacement, or a clone would be highly recommended. And a lot of times people will just jump on it because it's like, why wait until something happens? Let's get ahead of the curve now. With that being said, too, SSD drives have dropped in price a lot over the last few years. Shipping's terrible right now because of COVID-19, but usually when I do a hard drive replacement or upgrade for somebody, they end up getting a solid state because there's no point in getting the older style if it's financially feasible. And so you end up getting a new hard drive, and you also end up getting a lot better performance overall. So anyways, so there's my little hard drive rant. G-Smart Control. You can actually plug in hard drives with other docks. Oh, look at this. Wow. There we go. Which one is that? My 800. Oh, that's my that's my solid state. Ouch. Yeah, my solid state is not doing very well. Looks like I need to. So here's a perfect example. Apparently one of my solid states is not doing well. That might actually explain some issues I've been having lately. So perfect example of why we use this program. Perfect example. Uncorrectable error in data, so it's trying to fix the information, and it can't. Either it's reading or writing, or it's getting scrambled, what have you. So that's something I'm gonna have to look into. When was the last time this happened? Huh. All right. Well, that's my own project for later on, nonetheless. So this is a perfect example of why we do this. Let's check my M2 drive. I've got a wear out detector going on. Time and under temperature. Oh, I keep it too cool in there. My bad. Okay, I'll have to look into that one too. I think that those are actually benign. Again, there's times where with SSDs things will be reported and it's not correct. So just food for thought there. Take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, so that's G Smart Control. Again, all of these links can be found on my website, www.pnwcomputers.com. And then in the upper right-hand corner of the actual menu bar on the website, you'll find links, and you'll be able to find all of these programs and links to the websites all there. Okay, so hard drives have been checked, and we've actually found out I've got some problems. SSD and M2. So I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. Well, I'm glad we're doing this together. Okay, so we've done a file cleanup. We've gone through your general malware. Now, as far as for antivirus, let's speak on that really quick. There's nothing out there that's going to make you impervious to bugs. Nothing. If there was something you could spend $100 a year on to make you impervious, I would be a millionaire and I would be solving all of the world's problems. So until that day arrives, I use this kind of multitude of programs. So you have your main antivirus, which is typically I just recommend Microsoft Security Essentials. Avast is somewhat decent. I also used Bitdefender for a long time. I used Avira for a long time. I used AVG for a long time. As programs have evolved and I've swapped and tried over the years. Right now, Microsoft Security Essentials, I just have it in there as like the example I give folks is like a baseball stadium. Essentially, Microsoft Security Essentials is like the guy at the ticket gate. I give him the ticket, he lets me in. If I don't have a ticket, he keeps me out. Now, if you can sneak past that guy, if you can get past your antivirus, you've got security inside actually walking around. And they're kind of keeping an eye on stuff, and they're like, hey, I don't know if you should be here. I want to see your ticket stub. I want to make sure you're supposed to be here. Essentially, that's what Malwarebytes antivirus does, or Malwarebytes anti-malware does. Sorry, guys. That's the thing that looks for the stuff that most likely will get past your antivirus, and it's going to be like, hey, you walk like a duck, talk like a duck, you're probably a duck, I'm going to quarantine you. And then Spybot, what Spybot's really excellent at is a lot of antiviruses are like a police officer if you have a robbery at your house. So essentially, if someone breaks into your house, they don't care about your broken doors and windows. They're like, we got the crook. Have a nice day, call your insurance. So what Spybot does, Spybot actually has abilities to go through and say, hey, I see the notification to let you know that your security's turned off, has been turned off. Do you want me to turn that back on? Or notification letting you know that your firewall is completely down, has been disabled. Do you want me to turn that back on? So it'll actually go through and remove all of that or fix all of those broken windows and doors per se. Yeah, and get your computer back into shape. So that way you don't just remove the bug and you still have a broken window for the next bug just to hop right through again. So I really oversimplified it because there's so many different attack methods for malware, but that's the gist of things, okay? So really quick too, I just want to show you PNW Computers, and I can't even spell my own website, computers.com. Pull this up. You should sign up too. You get updates. So it's under more. You click on links, and then you've got all my little programs. I even have Bitdefender and Avast. So this is essentially where you can find all these programs that I'm recommending to use. So yeah, and I even have a little guide to tell you how to do this cleanup stuff and speed up your computer. So lots of little great resources here. Again, pnwcomputers.com under the links page. Okay, so we got my computer all cleaned up in this front. CCleaner's all set. Looks like, only 137 megabytes, about 4,000 trackers. Trackers are always going to be there. Okay, so we've done anti-malware, antivirus, the anti-spyware is still running. We've done a cleanup of all the temporary files, cookies, cache, the junk and recycling for the computer. We've checked all of the Windows updates, and we made sure that those are current, and we're installing the available ones. And we've also checked our hard drive, and I found that I have actually a couple issues with some of my solid states. So another reason to always check that. Now, the next thing, and this is probably the most common type of cleanup that I always have to do when I go out on site, is browser hijacks. So essentially what's going on is this little bubble here, this Google Chrome or Firefox or Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge or Chrome or Chromium or Opera, it doesn't matter, Brave, whatever that you're using, this is almost like its own operating system. So you could have pop-ups and hijacks and redirects going on, but your antivirus says your computer's clean. And Malwarebytes, most likely will catch most of it. Spybot, same thing, but there's still some that can get past that, and those still some are called PUPs, P-U-P, potentially unwanted program. Essentially, they're like the car salesman of the computer world. They have slimy software, so like you go to a website and you're trying to figure out stuff about COVID-19, and some scummy website says, hey, you have to download and install this program, and then you get this PDF on COVID. Well, when you download and install that program, you now have something in your browser that's tracking where you're going, tracking what you're doing, and this isn't like they're stealing your bank account information, or anything like that. What they're looking for is like you shop at Amazon and Walmart and Costco.com 3 days a week, mostly buying kitchen and garage stuff. So they'll take that and they can actually turn around and create marketing information and then turn around and sell that to people. Be like, hey, we can hit your perfect demographic in Southwest Washington or whatever. So that's, again, way oversimplifying. There are other facets to all of that. Man, my nose is just really itchy. I apologize. There are a lot more other facets to all of that. But again, that's the general gist of what's going on. So Malwarebytes actually acquired these guys. ADW Cleaner was actually made by a different company. They still have the website. Yeah, ToolsLib. So I remember seeing this on here years and years and years ago. And now it seems that Malwarebytes has acquired the software rights. The original, actually, you know what? I think ToolsLib is actually just a distribution. What am I talking about? Is it ToolsLib? I just want to give the right people the right credit. No. Looks like that the original developer took their page down, so it may be that Malwarebytes completely has it. So it used to be in the past, the original developer and Malwarebytes were distributing it, and that was going on for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years. And it looks like that the main author has removed his page. Okay, well, anyways, that was a little side tangent there. Essentially, what this program is doing is an adware removal tool. So after I do all that scanning, all of that cleaning, all of that removal work. This is like the cherry on top. This looks for the stuff that an antivirus technically can't find because it's a potentially unwanted program. You might actually want it on there. I have people that do online surveys and what have you for making money while from home, and some of those companies actually require these programs to be on there so they can make sure you're going to the pages and doing what you're saying you're doing. It's innocent tracking. They're not getting your banking information and stuff like that. But yeah, so it looks like, oh, nothing. Well, that's good. That was on 3/10, so that's like a month ago, and that was like last year. Wow. All right, cool. Got that all out. So again, what this will do is this will actually find a lot of that browser hijack junk, browser redirect stuff, pop-ups. I would say like the big guys of that would be like Maps Galaxy. You'll see Maps Galaxy toolbars. You'll see like recipe toolbar. You'll see like lyric search bar, maps, searching add-on, and it has nothing to do with Google or MapQuest. There's just always random plugins. And since you guys somehow got duped into getting them into your browser, your antivirus can't flag it and pull it out. So that's why this program is super important, and it can also find malware too. So, using all these different types of security software, you have an antivirus made by Microsoft, anti-malware by Malwarebytes, and anti-spyware from Spybot. What is it? Spursoft? I'll have to look that up here in a second. Nonetheless, you have this huge multi-layered security umbrella essentially going on, and they all look for things in different ways. They all have different virus definitions, so you get a much, much more thorough cleaning. And to be honest, if you do this, every 3 to 6 months, you won't see guys like myself having to come out to your house and clean up and tune up your computer, and you're not having to con or swindle a friend into or a family member into doing it for you. So yeah, just wanted to throw that all out there. So I think that really does cover the basics of everything. Oh, one last thing, startup programs. So let's hop over here. Under startup here, so I've got a lot of stuff that wants to start when the computer starts. Now, in a normal system, I'll get on someone's computer and I'll see all of this stuff running. Stuff for sound, stuff for Microsoft OneDrive, Steam, all this is stuff. Essentially, it's like getting in your car and having your radio, your windshield wipers, everything just turning on at once. I don't think so. I want to turn things on as I need it. So I usually disable almost everything except for essential programs for security, network functionality, hardware functionality, and maybe like online backups, things like that. From there, I'll open up programs as I want and need, and etc. So this is probably like the number one thing that slows down someone's computer. And you can go a lot more in depth. We're not going to go that here today, but you can start looking at services and scheduled tasks. And there's even things you can do to your performance options and settings to kind of squeeze a little extra juice out of the computer too. And actually, that's something I can go over with you really quick, and it doesn't take very much time. So typically on a computer, you're going to have this PC icon somewhere on your desktop, and you can just right click and go to properties. If it's not on your desktop, just open up the Explorer folder, which is this little guy down here in the bottom. Do the same thing. Find this PC and go to properties. And this little guy pops up. We're going to go to advanced system settings. And under here, under the advanced tab, we're going to click on settings. And this is something I do on pretty much everybody's computer, is I'll turn everything off to best performance, and it turns off all this stuff to make all your windows 3D and ultra smooth and transparent, blah, 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 blah. A lot of that stuff you can turn off, and it makes your computer run much faster, or it can even make it appear to run faster since you're just cutting out some of this these exaggerated processes. So usually what I'll do is I'll leave drop shadows, smooth edge for screen fonts, so your fonts don't look old school and blocky. Translucent selection rectangle, show thumbnails instead of icons for like pictures and folders and things like that. And enable peek. That's just like a little thing that you can use to be able to look at other screens that are going on when you have a bunch of stuff popped up on your computer, essentially. So yeah, go through that and just pretty much uncheck all the rest of this, and then click apply and OK. You'll notice that your windows close much faster, and you'll also just notice that going between certain applications and what have you will have a little extra pep to it now, since your processor and RAM isn't having to do other stuff just to make things look cool as the window goes away. Little things like that. And I've always done this, and no one's ever complained or noticed. No one's been like, "Oh, what happened to that?" They always just say, "Wow, yeah, it seems a lot faster now." And that's what we're going for. This is actually an excellent device or example here. It looks like I just got a notification saying that my computer is going to update tonight. So that update that we just downloaded is done and ready to go. And so now what we're going to do is hit fix selected here. And we're going to let Spybot get all this little junk stuff like from double click, and you can see all these or I wouldn't say malware, but like tracking cookies and stuff like that. Watch, now it's going to crash on me. That'd be great. Oh, nope, there it goes. All right, we're good. Cool. Awesome. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much a basic run through for doing a full cleanup and tune up on someone's computer. Obviously, I didn't have anything bad going on. So like if you have an actual infection happening, those scans could take hours. And then typically upon the completion of a scan, if there are detections, you have the option to select them, quarantine them, or remove them. My recommendation there is always remove, always delete. If for some reason you get an error message saying like, hey, if removing this file might damage the system in some way, then do a quarantine. And then have someone like myself notify someone like myself so we can actually look at the computer and manually cut that thing out. It's not often that I run into that, but sometimes you do. In those cases, literally just quarantining it and putting it in a straitjacket will not allow it to do anything further. So it might still be in the computer, but it's like a fly in a jar. It's not going to go anywhere or anything. It's not going to do anything. It's just there. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So I really hope this helps some people out there. It's not that complicated of a process, especially if you know what programs to use and where to get those programs. And yeah, it doesn't take really a whole lot. So if you're stuck at home, or you have been stuck at home and the computer isn't running so great, I really hope that this whole process might help you out. Again, I really hope everybody stays healthy, and I hope everybody stays safe out there. I know that some of this stuff is going to be getting a little weird over the next few weeks as the stay home orders are going to be extended. And that was another reason why, again, I wanted to make this video, just to kind of, help people out. That way, if your computer isn't running poor and you're not, or is running poorly and you're not at work and you can't pay for someone to fix your computer, what are you going to do? So all the tools are free. The method's been completely laid out. Went through it pretty much step by step. So even if your computer is running well, throw these programs on there, do the cleanings, do the scans. Now, the only thing before I say to end all of this, again, remove anything that was pre-existing, okay? Meaning, you can just simply go to the search bar down here. Let me just hop back over really quick. Come over here, type in control, click on control panel, go to programs and features, and just make sure any junk software is out of here. If you're going to be putting on new security software, remove your old security software. If you have programs in here that if you sort this by date you haven't used since 2012, get that stuff out of there. So again, get some of these programs removed. And yeah, just get that computer cleaned up. So I really hope this helps somebody out. Sorry, I'm kind of like dragging back on here, but didn't exactly have a format for this whole thing. So yeah, be well, be safe, be healthy, be happy. I'll talk to you soon. If you do need any help, computer, 3D printing, just tech, anything in tech in general, you know who to call. Jon Pienkowski, Pacific Northwest Computers, here in Vancouver, Washington. And at the website again, www.pnwcomputers.com. And have a great day. Bye.